What's up guys, GGFOREX here, and on today's video I'm going to be showing you how I manage my risk. I've changed it slightly. What I like to do is there's always situations where you get, I like this trade but. So before I would mark up a trade, I'd like it, where I want to enter, but then there'll be certain factors about it. Maybe there's targets down below my entry, maybe there's unmitigated candles down below my entry. Just something where it could go wrong. And before, I would just say, place the trade, trust the process, whatever happens, happens, I can't control the outcome. Which is correct. But then how do you manage your risk with that? How do you protect your capital as much as possible? Remember, we want to be smart traders, okay? We don't want to be guessing, we don't want to be hitting and hoping. We enter, we make an educated decision, we outlay the risks. We put our risk on 1 or 2%, 0.5%, no more than 2, whatever it is. Make sure it's no more than 2, okay? I only do 1, especially with Ftmo, 1% risk per trade, right? But then how do I manage it if I want to enter this trade, but there's some concerns about it? Or I want to enter this trade, but there's kind of 2 areas, right? How do I sort of manage my risk, and how do I still get in the trade, but I'm understanding the concerns that come with that? Now I know it's a bit of a mouthful, I know it's a bit confusing, but I feel like this video is going to help you guys out a lot, especially the people who have been in this situation or are in this situation currently, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through the charts, explain what I mean, and tell you how I would manage that situation now, the best way possible to protect my capital. So let's just get on the charts. I'm on NZD CAD, right? So I had a markup on this chart. I had my bias, right? I have an entry where I would have liked to have gone, okay? This would have been one of my entries, okay? Let me put it in different colors so it's easier to see. Okay, so that was an entry I was looking at, but I also had concerns. One, it was making liquidity above my target. So then again, there's more reason for price to go higher, right? Even though this is super clean, this is what I want to look out for. This is a huge impulse zone. I'm like, yes, this is what I want, but then the area wasn't as premium as I would have liked. It wasn't at a higher price, right? I had targets, I had everything, I had the whole 9 yards. If I zoom out, you can see all my targets and what I'm seeing. I'm seeing equal lows, trend lines, people are going to be seeing this, it's breaking structure to the top side, people are going to see this as a buy situation. I'm seeing it as a sell. I see there's money to the downside, not to the upside, apart from where my entry was, right? So how do I manage my risk? If I wanted to get in this trade, see, what I did before was I just stayed out of it, which I have. I stayed out of the trade, I said, there's no point risking it for no reason. If I was right about that kind of first entry, this one in yellow, then if it happens to work out, great, I miss it, I move on, there's always another trade, another day. But how would I trade this in a way that I could get in, but if I was wrong, it wouldn't be too painful, right? So if I'm risking 1% per trade, and if I have 2 places where I want to enter on the market, because of one, maybe this is a good area, or maybe this other area up here, which is what I've decided to go for, an area where I want to get in the market, where I think that is the best premium price to sell from, and also it manipulates retail traders out of this channel that they are curating to draw people in to start selling from this magical, powerful trend line that everyone believes is true, okay? You know, we have got imbalance, you know, impulse moves, you know, breaker structure, targets, everything I want, but there's 2 entries. So what I'm going to do now is how I'm going to implement this in the future is just put 0.5% on both positions. So if I'm wrong on the first one, I don't get too butthurt about it. I'm not going to cry and think, why did I do that? Why did I, if I knew there was risks, why did I even get in the trade? And you have this sort of like mental battle with yourself. So psychology-wise, if you enter in both but only risk the same amount, if you lose one but win the other one, then it kind of, the reward to risk takes out that loss anyway. It's not as much of a big gain, but it's still a gain, right? And obviously little gains add up to make big gains at the end of the month. So if I did do that trade, okay, short, a bit in there, there, and obviously my targets were down here, right? So maybe I would have made some money, but didn't take all of it. Could have got a 1 to 4 quite comfortably before it came down into this area, which caused the big move up. So that would have been a safer trade. It would have been a nice 1 to 4. If I 0.5 risk, it would have been a nice 2% gain, right? But let's say I didn't do it, right? Let's say TP was down here and it came back up and stopped me out, okay? I was in it, I could have got 1 to 4, I didn't, lost 0.5. But then what happened if price comes back up here? We don't know yet. I'll make the next video continuing on from this, but this is where I'm trying to explain to you there's a really nice entry. You want to do it, but you have some concerns. How do you trade it with the risk management in mind? How do you protect your capital? So one way you can do it, which you guys will definitely find help with, is just splitting that risk across two entries where you're looking at, right? So instead of doing 1% on one, 1% on another one, or 2 on one, 2 on another one, do 1 on one, 1 on the other one, or half and half, or quarter and quarter, whatever it is. So I know if I lose both, I'm still only going to lose 1%. I'm treating this 2 positions as 1 trade, okay? So I hope that makes sense. I hope that helps you understand, or if you've been in situations where, you know, you kind of see in 2 different places, you don't want to over leverage, you don't want to over risk, especially when you're in Ftmo and you've got certain rules to follow. The last thing you want is to lose a challenge by over leveraging your account. Or the last thing you want to do is by losing a challenge by not hitting your targets when you knew you could if you just trusted the process, but then just split your risk slightly. 2% is better than no percent, right? You know, or losing half of what you would normally lose, then a full of what you would normally lose is better than losing all of it, right? Is what I'm trying to say. So I hope that makes sense. I hope this video makes sense of what I'm trying to say of managing your risk, seeing an entry, but then seeing concerns about it. Let's say there wasn't a second entry. Let's just say there's nothing up here, but let's say it made targets, right? Let's just say that this area is, you know, it made equal highs. So I'm trading off of it, but there is reasons to go past it, okay? Because for me and how I trade, equal highs, equal lows, they are targets, they are pools of liquidity, where people see it as support and resistance, right? So maybe I'm thinking, yes, I do like it, but there is that concern. Instead of putting a full 1% on it, I'll put half. If I lose, I'm not so butthurt about it, but I understood the risk and went in and I risk manage accordingly to that situation. If it wins, great, it worked out. I didn't get the full amount of what I could have got normally, but then again, I was being safer and I didn't risk a full amount. So you're winning some, but you're losing very little, if that makes sense. So you're kind of winning big, losing small, which is the whole slogan of GGFOREX anyway. So I hope that has helped you out with how you can manage your risk in different situations with the concerns that you have that protects your capital as much as you possibly can. And we want to trade smart, guys, and at the end of the day, we want to protect our capital as much as possible. Making money is great, but keeping it and protecting it is more important. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, join the link down below or join the GGFOREX group down below. The link is down there. Great people in there. It's amazing. They're crushing. I've got over 800 people now, which is mad. And yeah, I'll see you in there if you've got any questions. Like, share, subscribe. Love you all.